This time, I am very pleased to welcome our chairman of the Financial Services Committee, Mr. Hensarling of Texas, and yield to him such time as he may consume.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First, I want to thank the gentleman from Michigan, and not only for yielding, but more importantly for his leadership in helping improve our capital markets and our economy here. I want to thank all of the Republican and Democrat co-sponsors of H.R. 1219, particularly our Vice Chairman of the full committee, Mr. McHenry of North Carolina, for his leadership, but also Ms. Velasquez on the other side of the aisle for her leadership on this issue as well. Both of these colleagues are senior members of the committee, which I have the honor of chairing. Madam Speaker, we know that while confidence in our economy are up considerably over the last few months, our nation still has a way to go to experience the robust economic growth the American people have experienced in the past, of which they also deserve. One obvious reason that the economy continues to limp along is bureaucratic burdens imposed by Washington's top-down regulations on America's small businesses on Main Street. I got a message from a gentleman by the name of Larry, a small business owner in Maybank, Texas, that I have the privilege of representing here in Congress, and he summed it up fairly well. He said, quote, "So many businesses have to deal with regulations and taxes that didn't exist a few years ago. It's especially hard on smaller businesses. While large companies have their own staff of attorneys and the capital to comply with regulations, small businesses don't." And so, Madam Speaker, as my colleagues on the Financial Services Committee know all too well, because we've had countless witnesses before our committee to attest to such, Washington has inflicted upon Main Street America a complex set of burdensome and expensive and confusing regulations. Many were written, again, with the largest public companies in mind, but they burden small companies and hurt their ability to access capital, and that's exactly what Larry of Maybank, Texas, has told me, and I believe it. So clearly, Congress should work, preferably on a bipartisan basis, to level the playing field while maintaining fair and efficient capital markets, protecting investors, and allowing small companies the chance to succeed. We can make progress on these goals today by advancing this bipartisan bill, the Supporting America's Innovators Act. The bill was approved by the Financial Services Committee with overwhelming support of Republicans and Democrats. The vote in committee was 54-2. In addition, a similar bill passed the House last year overwhelmingly on a bipartisan basis. Madam Speaker, these vote totals demonstrate that just about everyone, Republican and Democrat, agrees that this common sense legislation will indeed help grow our economy. H.R. 1219 specifically increases the limit on the number of individuals from 100 to 250 who can invest in certain venture capital funds before those funds are forced to register with the SEC as, quote, investment companies. This change would permit angel and venture funds to better help accredited investors invest in small business startups. These early stage investors play a vital role in helping many small businesses get their start. In 2015, angel investors deployed nearly $25 billion to 71,000 different startups across our nation. In the first quarter of 2017, venture capital invested more than $16 billion in almost 1,800 startups. And if anyone here, for some reason, doubts the impact these investors can have on our nation's economic growth, let me remind them that companies such as Amazon, Costco, Google, Facebook, and Starbucks were all first funded by angel investors. And let's also remember, Madam Speaker, that almost half of the people who work in this country own or work for small businesses. They create nearly, historically, 2/3 of the new jobs in America. So clearly, our economy works better for working Americans when small businesses thrive and have access to capital and credit they need to innovate and expand and create jobs. The Supporting America's Innovators Act modernizes a regulation to enhance the ability for startups and small businesses to receive critical funding and capital from private markets, and in particular, again, Madam Speaker, angel investors in venture capital. Undoubtedly, it will help today's small business startups become the next great American entrepreneurial success and in doing so, help invigorate economic growth and help create more economic jobs. American jobs. So I urge the adoption of H.R. 1219, and I'm happy to yield back the balance of my time. Thank you.
The gentleman